This is not a joke, your person was forced to leave you, finally. Now the full shocking truth comes out. Watch fast. Archangel Michael says, you were never meant to carry this heartbreak alone. The one you loved, the one who vanished like a shadow in the wind, was not acting of their own free will. You thought they chose to walk away from you, but what really happened was hidden beneath layers of manipulation, fear, and a deeply buried secret. They were torn away, not by choice, but by force. There were nights they sat with tears in their eyes, holding their phone, your number glowing on the screen, but their hands trembled too much to press call. Someone was watching, someone had made it clear that one wrong move could destroy everything they cared about. Including you. This person didn't ghost you, they were silenced. The silence wasn't rejection, it was protection. They were given an ultimatum: if they contacted you again, someone close to them would suffer. If they showed up, someone would reveal something devastating, so they vanished, carrying a heavy grief they never wanted you to bear. Their heart still beats for you, but it's been shackled by obligation and fear. They kept your picture, they read your messages even after weeks of silence. Every word you wrote was replayed in their mind. They didn't delete your name, they locked it away. There was a person, someone you may or may not know, who felt threatened by your connection. That person knew how powerful your love was, and they made sure to sever it. This individual pretended to support them, they acted like a friend, like family even. But behind their back, they laid a trap so your person would feel like returning to you would cost them everything, and it almost did. There were legal threats, there were lies planted to ruin your image. They whispered things in their ear to make them question their own sanity, their own worth. You're not the one who failed, you were the target, because someone saw that your presence was giving strength to someone they wanted to control. This is not a joke, it's not a fantasy, it's not a romantic excuse. It is the truth they have carried for far too long in silence. They wanted to speak, so many times, they rehearsed what they would say, they even drafted a message, unsent, 12 times. But fear strangled their voice, and shame kept them from opening their mouth, shame. Not because of you, but because they couldn't protect what you had. They felt like a coward, they felt like they failed you, so instead of saying goodbye, they disappeared. Because in their broken logic, that would hurt you less than knowing the depth of the betrayal they were experiencing from people they once trusted. Now, everything has begun to unravel. The one who threatened them is losing control. The secrets they buried are beginning to rise. The whispers in the dark are becoming loud enough to echo in the daylight. Documents are surfacing, conversations recorded, screenshots saved. Your person is watching it all unfold, with wide eyes and a pounding heart. The lie they were forced to live is now becoming too heavy to carry. They may be on the verge of returning. They don't know how to start. They don't know if you'll listen, but something in their soul is screaming that the time has come to speak. There's a letter they wrote, it never reached you. But it exists, hidden in a drawer, or tucked beneath clothes in a suitcase they still keep packed, just in case they ever get the courage to come back to you. That letter tells you the truth. It tells you about the person who stood between you. It explains how they were blackmailed, how everything they owned was nearly taken from them. It even names the one who orchestrated it. And that name is someone you may have smiled at. It's someone who laughed with you in a room full of others, pretending to be innocent while tearing your life apart in shadows. Your person regrets not fighting harder. But they were scared. They were in too deep, and you, precious soul, were the light they didn't want to drag into the darkness. But the darkness is crumbling now. The walls are breaking, and the truth, the full, brutal, beautiful truth is rising. This is your moment to hear it all. No more half-truths, no more ghosted calls. No more silent nights wondering what you did wrong. Because you did nothing wrong, you were the anchor. You were the salvation. And your presence threatened the chains that were holding your person down. They miss you, deeply, desperately, dangerously. There were moments they whispered your name in their sleep. Times they passed your favorite spot, hoping you'd still be there. Times they opened their phone just to look at your last message, replaying the sound of your voice in their mind. They didn't stop loving you. They were forced to stop showing it, and now, it's time you know. Archangel Michael says, you were never forgotten. You were protected from a storm you didn't know was raging behind the curtains. Now that storm is ending. And your person is standing in the ruins, looking for the strength to find their way back. Don't be surprised if they reach out. Don't be shocked if you feel a sudden pull to check a message, or your name being called in the quiet of the night. That's their spirit crying out. The spell is breaking. The grip is weakening, the door is creaking open again. This is not a dream. You will hear their voice again, you will feel their hands again. And this time, when they come, they won't be running from something. They'll be running to you, so breathe. Be still. The angels are clearing the path, and the ones who tried to steal your story are about to be exposed. The lie that you were forgotten is the biggest lie ever told. You are unforgettable, and someone is about to show you that in ways you never expected. Watch closely now. The signs are already near. Archangel Michael says, prepare your heart. The person who left never stopped being yours. And now the truth, the whole truth, is finally being delivered. It was never about rejection. It was about protection. And now, the protection is done, the battle is shifting in your favor. You're not waiting anymore. You're being reunited. Right now, something is being written in your favor. If you feel a sudden rush in your chest, a strange lightness, a sign from a stranger, it's not coincidence. It's a whisper from above. Telling you, the truth is rising, and so are you. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. You may be wondering why this had to happen in the first place. Why would fate bring someone into your life only to rip them away so violently and silently? The answer is as twisted as it is divine. Because the bond you shared was too powerful to go unnoticed. That power awakened envy, and that envy grew into obsession. There were people, not strangers, but those nearby, who saw the glow between you and your person. They saw a connection that made them feel invisible, unimportant, or threatened. And instead of nurturing their own light, they focused all their energy on extinguishing yours. They manipulated. They lied. They created scenarios that made your person doubt themselves, and worse, doubt you. But deep down, your person knew. They felt it. Every time they tried to walk away, something inside them screamed that this wasn't right, that they were walking away from the one soul that saw their true reflection. And yet, they obeyed the fear. They were told things would fall apart if they continued speaking to you, that you would suffer. That everything they had worked for, their name, their career, their family, would crumble. And it nearly did. They had to play along, pretend that they didn't care, pretend that they had moved on. But behind closed doors, they were breaking piece by piece. Some days they couldn't eat, other nights, they cried until they fell asleep. Their absence wasn't abandonment. It was agony. Archangel Michael says, you may have thought you were alone in your pain, but they were mirroring you from afar. Two souls grieving the same loss, without knowing the full truth. But now the clock has run out on those who caused the separation. The lies they built like walls are starting to collapse. People are beginning to ask questions. The silence is turning into noise, and the one who manipulated everything is being exposed, slowly, then suddenly. Your person is watching the truth unfold and realizing that they no longer have to stay quiet. That maybe, just maybe, they can still make things right. They're scared. Not of you, but of how much damage has been done. They think of the first time they looked into your eyes and felt peace. They think of the laughter, the comfort, the raw honesty between you. And now, all they want is to find their way back to that, but this time, they want to come with a heart full of truth. Not fear. There may be a message sitting in your inbox right now, unsent, a call made, but not completed. A letter half written. That is their soul trying to reach out, but still wrestling with the guilt of having left you behind. You haven't lost them. They've been circling you the whole time. They kept their distance not to reject you, but to protect you from a danger they felt unworthy to explain. They thought silence was safer. They thought hiding was helping. But now, they've realizing that silence only deepened the pain. The time for silence is over. They want to speak. They need to speak. The truth is too big to bury any longer. And when they come forward, you will hear everything. You will learn about the messages that were intercepted. About the person who threatened to expose private details just to make sure they wouldn't run back to you. About the fake stories that were planted to poison the love you both held sacred, but you'll also learn how they never stopped praying for a second chance. You'll hear how they watched from a distance. As you glowed, as you grew, as you fought through the pain they couldn't explain. You'll find out that your strength gave them strength. They believe it's too late. But Archangel Michael says, it's not. There's still a window, a divine window opening now, where healing is possible and truth is welcomed, and in that window, they are being guided back to you. They don't expect forgiveness, but they hope for it. They don't expect everything to return to how it was, but they dream of starting again, this time with no lies, no threats, no walls. Can you feel it? That shift in the air. That strange, quiet pull toward the past. That's not just nostalgia, that's a spiritual signal. A sacred alignment unfolding. Archangel Michael says, the force that pulled them away is no longer stronger than the force pulling them back, and in this divine moment, you are being called not to chase, but to receive. There is still so much more to be revealed. You will see things that once confused you make sense. Conversations you replayed in your mind will suddenly take on new meaning. Gaps will be filled with revelations. And most importantly, your name, the one they couldn't speak for so long, will finally be spoken with pride, with power, with purpose. This is not the end. This is not a goodbye. This is the unraveling of a painful mystery, and when all is said and done, you will rise. Not with heartbreak, but with clarity. They were taken from you, but now they are being released, and soon, they will return not because they're lost, but because they've finally found the courage to come home. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. They don't sleep peacefully at night, they haven't, not since the day they left you. Even now, with the world believing they moved on, their soul still aches at the thought of what they left behind. The truth is, they never moved on, they just froze in time. Time has been their punishment. And every minute without you felt like a sentence with no end. They wore a mask for the world. But inside, they were begging for freedom. And now that mask is cracking, they see you glowing without them, becoming stronger, more resilient, and while they're proud, they're also haunted, because they realize what they lost by staying silent. They realize how deeply they hurt you by obeying fear instead of love. But now, the chains are breaking, a conversation is being prepared, not just any conversation, but the one you deserved long ago. The one filled with real explanations, real apologies, and finally, the real reason they left. Not to run from you, but to survive the threats hanging over their head. You were not the problem. You were the reason they held on for so long. They wanted to protect you, even if it meant hurting you in the process. They believed that staying away would keep you safe. But all it did was deepen the wound, on both sides. Now, that wound is demanding to be healed. Archangel Michael says, it's no coincidence that you're seeing signs lately, their name popping up, songs that remind you of them, dreams where their voice reaches out to you in the dark. These are not random. These are spiritual alarms, calling your attention to the shift unfolding behind the scenes. They are coming forward not just with words, but with proof. Proof of the messages they wanted to send. Proof of the threats they received. Proof that they didn't just forget about you. They fought for you behind the curtain, even when they were told they couldn't win. You were always their safe space, and now, they want to rebuild what was taken from you both. They've started telling people the truth, quietly at first. Whispered conversations with a trusted friend, a voice memo they recorded, then deleted, then recorded again. And now, they are preparing to tell you. They know you've changed, they know they can't walk in expecting everything to be the same. But they also know something else. That the connection between you two didn't die, it only slept. And now, it's waking back up. There's one more thing they've kept hidden. Something they planned for your future. Something they bought, or saved, or created, with you in mind. It still exists, it's still waiting. You're not the only one who has flashbacks. They remember your scent, the way your fingers fidgeted when you were nervous. The way you looked at them when you believed in them more than anyone else ever had. That memory has become their lighthouse in the fog. Now, they are coming home, spiritually first, then physically. You may feel their energy before you see their face. You may get a message in the middle of the night, or a call that comes after weeks of silence. It will shake you. But it will also free you. Because finally, you will have the choice. The power won't be in the hands of those who lied. It won't be in the hands of those who threatened or manipulated. It will be between you and them, two hearts who were forced apart, now being given one last divine chance to choose each other again. This isn't fantasy. It's already happening, behind closed doors. They are practicing what they will say. Looking in the mirror, breaking down in tears, regretting every second they stayed away. They're preparing not to beg, but to own what happened. They know they were wrong. But Archangel Michael says, forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about releasing yourself from the weight of confusion, and the truth, once revealed, will be the key to that release. There will be questions. And there will be answers, raw, honest, painful, beautiful answers. You deserve to know everything. You deserve to hear the full truth, without filters, without excuses, and when you hear it, your soul will recognize something. They never stopped being yours. They were just locked behind a spiritual wall they couldn't climb, until now. This moment is holy. This return is sacred. And what comes next will be determined not by lies, but by truth. You are not imagining the energy. You are not crazy for still feeling them. This is divine timing, a cosmic correction. A hidden story coming to light at last. They were forced to leave, but now, nothing is forcing them to stay away. They are choosing. Freely, finally. And what they are choosing, is you. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. They're closer than you think, not just in heart, but in distance. Spiritually, emotionally, and even physically, they are drawing near, slowly, quietly, led by a force they can no longer resist. What they're carrying is more than words. It's the weight of every suppressed truth. You will soon feel that weight lift from your own chest too, the tension you couldn't explain. The emptiness that followed you like a shadow. It wasn't your imagination. It was the residue of an unfinished love story demanding closure or continuation. And now, that chapter is ready to be reopened. Archangel Michael says, this wasn't about romance, this was a spiritual war. A test of loyalty, faith, and strength. You were chosen to endure it because your soul carried the resilience to handle truth beyond most people's understanding. You weren't abandoned. You were protected. Your person didn't disappear because they stopped loving you. They disappeared because their love for you was too dangerous in the wrong hands. Someone saw your happiness and felt hatred. Someone saw your light together and tried to darken it. But what they didn't realize is, light always finds a way through the cracks. And now the cracks have become gaping wounds. The mask of the liar is falling off, the truth that was buried in whispers is being shouted into the universe. And soon, it will land on your doorstep. This message you're reading isn't just words, it's a signal. A confirmation. A divine receipt that what you felt in your heart was real all along. You weren't crazy for waiting. You weren't foolish for loving deeply. You were brave enough to feel something others only dream of, and now, the time has come for your bravery to be rewarded. Your person has something they need to show you. Something they were given, or kept, or wrote down long ago. A promise they made to themselves, and to you. if they ever had the chance to return. That chance is now. They may come through a message or a letter delivered in a way you won't expect. It could be a familiar voice on a new number, or an in-person moment so sudden, you'll feel the world stop. They are trembling with fear, not of you, but of your reaction. They are prepared for you to be angry, to feel betrayed, to be guarded, but they are coming anyway, because the guilt of silence is louder than any fear they now hold. They need to speak. They need to say it all, about the person who blocked their way. About the threats made against them. About the family member, the friend, or the employer who manipulated everything, and when you hear it, it will all finally make sense. Every sleepless night. Every unexplained distance, every unanswered call. Every moment you thought you were the only one in pain. You'll see clearly now, the pain was shared. The love was real. The separation was forced, and now, finally, the door to healing is swinging wide open. You will have questions, ask them. You will have tears. Let them fall, because the truth is finally here, raw, unfiltered, and ready to set you free. Archangel Michael says, this reunion is not about picking up where you left off. It's about beginning again, from a place of clarity, from a foundation of truth. Whether you choose to love again, or to part peacefully, this moment will close the wound that's been bleeding for far too long. And you will no longer carry the weight of confusion. You will walk forward knowing you were always enough, you were always loved. You were always worth fighting for, even when the battle was fought in silence. There's still more to be revealed, messages that will arrive. Confessions that will be whispered. Apologies that will feel like rain on parched soil, and you will rise from this with wisdom, strength, and a knowing that can never be stolen again. This is not a joke. This is divine timing, sacred justice. A moment written in the stars long before you knew what was happening. The soul who was forced to leave is now fighting to return, and this time, nothing and no one will stand in their way. If you wish to express your support further,